You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Hello, good people. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, or welcome to the podcast if it's your first time. Either way, I am totally stoked that you're here. Thank you for hanging out with me for another episode. We're knocking on the door of 500, which is crazy to think. Wow. I mean, I can't thank you enough. That's all I really have to say about that. But today, I'm talking to a dude named Andrew Patrick, who is a listener of the show and just so happens to play some music that I really, really, really enjoy. Andrew plays in a band called The Carolyn, and when this first came into the inbox, I, of course, gave it a listen, as I do to almost everything that comes into the inbox. And this is the first one in a little while that I said, wow, never heard of this before, but it is all kinds of my business, so let's have a chat. I really, really enjoyed these tunes, and if you like punk in the vein of the same things that I do, The Loved Ones, Gaslight Anthem, The Lawrence Arms, The Swellers, all that kind of stuff, well, then you're going to like The Carolyn. They are fantastic songs by fantastic people who care about making good rock and roll. I really enjoyed my chat with Andrew, especially the Patreon conversation. I felt like by the time we got there, we were starting to dig deep into the things that make us both tick, and it was yet another example of the Patreon chat being even better than the original podcast. So if you like the idea of even more conversation and ad-free episodes, head over to patreon.com/tonemob, where for $5 a month, you can get access to that stuff. All right, that's enough plugging. Let's get into this episode. Wow, Jack Black tried to take over there. With Andrew Patrick from The Carolyn. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, a show about guitar stuff, occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today, I have Andrew Patrick from The Carolyn. What is going on, dude?
Hey, man. It's good to be with you. I'm just kind of waking up here. It's been a slow start to my Friday, so yeah, it's a nice start to the day.
I understand. I'm a night owl myself, so this is like the first thing on the agenda.
Awesome.
This is why I always set the time not first thing in the morning. I'll be squinting and it's just not good. So I always try to do it.
I'm pretty
now.
useless. I used to have to wake up at 4 every morning for work, and now that I'm in a situation where I don't have to do that, I take a lot of pride in sleeping in when I can.
Yes. I feel that for sure. Well, I told you this off the air, but I think it probably will be a good thing for listeners to hear as well. I have a lot of requests that come in the inbox for, different guests on the podcast and whatnot. And I always try to, I always try to check everything out to the best of my ability. And I like to talk to people that I I like what they do. And so sometimes it's not like a necessarily a mark against anyone. It's just like, I don't really know that much about that genre and it's not really my thing. So gonna pass. But in this case, I was like, well, let's check this band out. I don't know anything about them. Oh yeah, this is my thing. Yeah. I was like, I'm hearing Lawrence Arms in here pretty heavily, and that is one of my favorite bands.
Who's that band? I never heard of them.
Oh, you never heard of them? No, you don't know them?
Fucking well, I really appreciate that, man. I mean, I totally understand having limited bandwidth to not be able to check every little thing out, but the fact that we made the cut, I appreciate you.
Well, it was fast. It was like, oh, wow, that's great. All right, now I'm listening to this the rest of the day. So.
They impersonate the Lawrence Arms very well. I'll talk to them.
And you got your own thing going on, though, too. I don't mean to color it all with one brush, but I can definitely hear it in there. And like I said, they're one of my favorite bands, so it was an immediate shoe-in. Well, for instance, your vocals are not the same. So,
well, cool.
Yeah.
Any distinction is welcome.
So I guess tell me your story. How did you get here? How did you get this? Is your first band? Like, let's get the whole story. When did you first start playing and go from there?
For all intents and purposes, this is kind of like my first project that wasn't like a teenage disaster band, where
sure
everyone's in high school and trying to force their, new metal onto somebody else's shoegaze
yes
inclinations or whatever. But yeah, started in 2016. It was kind of interesting because when this project started, a mutual friend put me in contact with a dude named Peter Catalano who's starting a label off the ground, and I sort of feel like the band and the label grew together. He had just heard some demos that I was working on. He was like, dude, whatever you want to do, like we got to collaborate and I want to put your music out. So initially it was just me kind of, it was a revolving door of friends for better part of a year. And then, some people I grew up with, Dave and Ollie, just kind of, we're a natural fit, and we started playing more shows, and it quickly went from being a solo project to a full-fledged band. And yeah, just been doing it since 2016, put out our first record at the end of 2019, and then a really weird thing happened and no shows were going on shortly after that. Yeah. And so I feel like 2022 is when we really started to kind of carve out a sound, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. And so growing up, I mean, obviously we can hear some of the inspiration there, but like, when did you grow up in a musical household, or did you have other influences early on, or what was that like for you?
Yeah, not necessarily. I'm old enough to remember when Enema of the State came out, and that really, really changed the cultural landscape. So I just, the first time I heard that as a small kid, I was like, oh, what? Like, I didn't have the words to really, like, my life was just never the same after that. And I do have to credit my brother-in-law to some degree, because he was the only one in the family that played an instrument and that kind of like encouraged that sort of thing and would let me, mess with his guitars whenever I go to his house. So yeah, it was just from an early age, I loved guitar and I loved whiny, poppy, punk adjacent music. So
yeah,
it's 32 and still playing it.
What was your first guitar?
Oh, I think it was called a Yamaha ERG. You know what? I'm actually curious. I'm going to Google.
All right. We have the technology. ERG. Let's find out.
I'm just I haven't thought about that guitar in so long. Yeah, an ERG 121. And it was
okay. What's that like? I'm not familiar with that model.
It's just kind of like a super strat shape. Definitely entry level, but that was my first one.
Cool. And was it like part of a starter pack thing, or did you have some different stuff?
Are you familiar with Mars Music? I don't know if it was a huge corporation, if it was just a standoff.
I am familiar with Mars Music.
Okay.
I think if I remember correctly, I mean, I never went there. I'm a West Coaster, but just being in the industry, I've heard that name a lot. And I feel like it was like a small chain, maybe?
Maybe. And I think my parents bought the guitar when they were like going under. And so I have to imagine it was a really cheap, nice like guitar in a box kind of deal where they gave you, your first instrument cable and, an amp that could fit into a cereal box or something like that. It was really, really humble beginnings for sure. And sucked at it for a long time. I think I kind of avoided lessons for as long as I could.
Understand. Yeah. Same. Still kind of sucking. Just doing it publicly now is what I'm.
Yeah, I embraced the suck. I was like, I don't really care about getting much better. I just want to write. You know, it was always just a means to an end for me. I don't really like to make a sport out of music at all. Not to disparage anyone who could like play circles around me. I mean, I wish I could be a shredder, but that's just was never what inspired me.
That is interesting, and I feel like I have felt in the past when I say things like that it's a bit of a cop out to not getting better. That's what I like was feeling internally. But then as I got older, I realized, no, that's really how I feel. I don't really. I love guitar. I love music. I love guitar music. I appreciate shredders. I listen to some of that music, and you know, I listened to Yvette Young, and I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. But at the same time, not bad enough to actually do it. You know?
yeah. I guess I'm somewhat in the same camp. I don't know, man. Like, I love guitar. I mean, it's just consumed my entire life, but I don't love working very hard. So, you know, like I kind of just have that easy come, easy go kind of approach. And yeah, this is good enough.
I'm willing to work hard when I feel inspired to, and then I really get in and get after it. But like what I'm interested in doing is more like what you're talking about. It's writing stuff and coming up with new sounds and textures and learning, you know, how to run my DAW better and how to mix better. And that stuff is more interesting to me than learning how to rip through a new scale in a different way. And I'm glad there are people who can take the opposite approach, because then I get to enjoy the fruits of their labor as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I can continue to do my thing.
It's a perfect way to look at it. Yeah. Getting back to the bandwidth conversation or whatever, that's where I want to put mine into. It's just the writing, like making the sound as good as it can, and you know, just the song have urgency or whatever. That's where, you know, I'll sand something down like a fine piece of wood or whatever. Just like, is this right? And that's but I'm not doing that with sweep picking or whatever.
No. And it's interesting too, because I do I do 3 podcasts now, which is weird, but I do the Chasing Tone podcast as well. And my co-hosts over there, Brian and Richard, both way better players than I am. But they also both really try and have tried for their whole lives to be better players. So, you know, they'll get into conversations sometimes and talking about practicing. And they're like, what about you, Blake? And I was like, well, I made my guitar go brrr. Yeah,
for sure.
And I found another way I can make it go stereo brrr, and it's even better. Double brrr. So it feels a little weird sometimes to be so obsessed with something and not be that good at it.
Sure.
But
we're like a badge of honor, man. Just rub it in their face. You know,
Yeah.
I'm successful not knowing how to do the things y'all can do.
I actually did engage with some troll at one point, and I'm like, yeah, well, I'm doing this for a living, and I don't know what you do for a living.
And you've also probably been on a date before. You know, trolls, I don't know. And I'll stop talking now.
Not for a long time.
Yeah.
And hopefully not ever again, unless it's
I'm sure you could get one much easier than the dude that was trying to with you.
I couldn't tell. It was a private profile. Maybe it was Brad Pitt. I don't know. It could have been anybody.
That's on brand for him.
Yeah. What I have found, and I've told this to some of my other content creator friends, is that I've never found anyone trolling me or anybody really who I went and navigated to their page and found like, oh, this is somebody whose work I really like and respect. Never.
Not only that, they're not doing better than me at a high level. Generally speaking, I feel pretty good about my situation.
Yeah, Steve Vai isn't going around talking trash on people.
Yeah, no. I had some good advice recently. Is like, you know, people who are doing better are not talking about you at all. They are not concerning themselves with anyone who's behind them. And
no, it doesn't matter to them. And also, like, what's that gonna? It's such an unproductive thing. It's very weird to me, the trolling culture, and it used to bother me when people would say mean things about me on the internet, but now I'm just like, look at this guy, and I screenshot it, and I learned a lot of that from my friend Ryan Burke from 60 Cycle. He's always let it roll off his back, and now it rolls off mine a lot better than it used to.
Yeah. No, that's good advice. I mean, I don't know. It just seems that comment sections, especially on, you know, platforms like Reddit and stuff, they're just filled with like the most painfully mediocre average people with average takes who just literally just the dopamine rush of talking to another person is their whole thing. And I guess we all play our roles, but I don't understand the psychology of it.
Yeah. I can't live on Reddit. Reddit hasn't liked me for a long time.
No, same, dude. Imagine being in a punk band trying to promote yourself on Reddit. It doesn't always go very well.
I can't imagine. Yeah, with Reddit, it does feel like no matter what you're doing it wrong, according to
For sure.
Reddit at large. But whatever. Who cares? But going back to the band and stuff, so when you started writing music, did you develop kind of a system, or do you just let it come as it comes and you just go with it?
Yeah, I don't know if like my process has really developed or changed a lot over the years. I mean, I write in a really linear way, so some people will start with the lyrics or they'll start with the chorus as like the foundation of whatever they're working on. But I just, if I got an intro riff, I'm starting there. And the next part, I'm gonna write the verse and whatever comes after that. Sometimes our song structures are kind of bizarre, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just literally, I hope this answers your question, but I just pick up a guitar and start humming baby talk and gibberish over chords and stuff. And yeah, the progressions and the melodies are happening at the same time. And unfortunately, I wish I was better about this, but the lyrics are kind of an afterthought, at least as far as the process is concerned. It doesn't mean that I don't try to make them as best as they can be, but I don't start there. That's not the impetus for any of my stuff. I think Ollie in the band is oftentimes quite the opposite. And probably speaks to the fact that his stuff, lyrically speaking, is a lot more thoughtful and mature than mine. But yeah. Yeah,
it's a weird thing. I always have gravitated towards bands whose lyrics I really enjoy. That's why I'm such a thrice junkie. I just love Dustin's writing, and also Lawrence Arms. I think have really clever lyrics as well. And when I was writing in more of like a kind of 90s alternative band, the lyrics were important to me, but similarly, it came later. Whereas I always thought like a lyric would be the inspiration for the song, and it was always more like what you're describing. It's like finding the thing. Usually it was like I'm walking around at work and some idea pops in the head and I have to hum it in my phone real quick. And then that night, go work on it later. And then I would write lyrics around the concept. And as a kid, I always tried to make lyrics happen first and then write the music with that. And it didn't work as well. So I guess you just got to find whichever. It doesn't really matter.
The best advice I've heard is your trajectory or you getting from A to B, it doesn't matter. It's whatever works. So sometimes I'll do, there will be those moments where the process is the complete opposite or whatever than what I would normally do. But as long as you're accomplishing what you set out to do, there's no rules to any of this. I've realized. No.
All ways are valid, really, at the end of the day, as long as you end up with a recording that you're happy with. That's what it is. And I think the process is part of what got me into all this. Like, I love the process of creating sounds, and I love finding new ways to do it and new pieces of equipment to do it with. That's like the whole thing. But I realized, like, back in the day, I had some, like, a bit of snobbery, when I first started getting into gear, and then quickly abandoned that because it didn't really make any sense. It was like, well, just because I think that thing sucks, I can find 12 musicians using it in a cool way. Maybe I'm the thing that sucks. Like,
I appreciate that level of self-awareness because I've definitely had the same thought many times over.
Yeah, and you hear people make these definitive statements on like that's the worst pedal I've ever played. And it's like, yeah, well, I feel that way about a Tube Screamer. There was this guy named Stevie Ray Vaughan who used two of them. And he inspired a lot of people, as it turns out.
Yeah, not sort of a side quest, but I've never been a Tube Screamer guy. No. I can't jive with it. And again, I'll be the first to admit maybe I'm the problem. I'm just like, this isn't serving what I do at all.
No, not for me either. I do like it. I've grown to appreciate it more in the metal sense where you're tightening up something high gain. I do like it for that. But on its own, as kind of the bass overdrive sound, it's not my thing. I'd rather have like something a little more gnarly with DoD 250 or even like a blues driver. I think a blues driver is a secret kind of code. People don't realize because it says blues driver that, it must be for blues. Like that can get
not
pretty
necessarily
gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now when you're playing, like where you're playing out or whether you're recording, like what does your rig look like? What are you playing?
Oh, am I at liberty to show you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We'll have to describe it too, but let's do it.
Very proud to be an owner of this device.
Oh man, I'm excited.
And the dude that runs it, I think I annoy all the time. But this right here, the amp by Milkman, this changed everything for me, dude. Mm-hmm. I was kind of getting at a rut where I'm like, do I need to take a break from guitar? Like, because I used to be such an amp guy, and for myriad reasons, I could never just in every environment get the sound I was going for. This is one of the first amps I've ever plugged into. I'm like, this sounds great. It's 3 pounds and I can take it anywhere in the world with no problem. Like, we could be in Europe and plug it in and you're not going to have any issues. Yeah. So yeah, this Milkman, I know you don't sponsor anybody, but when that changes, remember that I big upped you all the time.
Tim was on the podcast a long time ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Super sweet guy.
Great guy. Yeah.
I think he just likes I get the sense that he likes to keep things small and just do everything himself. I was like, can I do anything for you marketing? He's like, nah, dude, we don't really do that. You're good. Thank you for the nice words.
Yeah. And for the listeners, so the amp, it might be a little bit nebulous, so we might want to describe what that is. I'll let you do it since you use it. Yeah,
so he told me it's like modeled after a Fender Twin. Would you agree with that? I'm not super familiar with Fender amps. Like, I've never actually owned any of them.
That I haven't played that thing in a long time. I would have called it more of like what my memory of it. And actually, you know what? Are there two versions?
There's the Amp 100, which has way more headroom. And then the 50 was the first one he made.
I played the 50.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And my memory of that was more like Vibrolux territory, not quite to twin levels of clean. But this was years ago, so gotcha. My memory could be a little foggy.
But yeah, regardless, it's in the Fender neighborhood. Apparently, the preamp section is tube. And yeah, it just sounds killer. Like, it can get super gainy. It cleans up well. I know everyone who's trying to promote an amp says that, but it's true. And for me, dude, like as the older I get, I really, really do value convenience. And when you lug your 100-watt rock reverb or whatever, and it doesn't quite sound the way that it does in your bedroom or the studio or whatever, it's like, dude, what am I doing this for? Like, no one cares. You know, like, you could have the best tone in the world, and it's the sound and the venue or whatever is mediocre. So regardless, I love that thing. I don't think I'll ever need another amp.
Wow.
Yeah, huge believer in their thing. I actually, you know, I don't even need a lot of pedals. Like recently, because my buddy Peter gifted it to me, I've been using this Lyndhurst pedal, if you're familiar.
Is that one of those Bogner ones that has like a transformer in it?
Yeah, it's got the Rupert Neve transformer in it. And I guess it was just a collab between them and Bogner. And I guess it's a compressor. I don't even really, you know, I've been doing this a long time and my technical knowledge is still, again, really limited, but it just really warms up my sound. And I treat it like an overdrive pedal, honestly. It can, it can really, really beef things up. So yeah, it's really just this and the Milkman these days.
Wow. That's it.
Yeah. As far as, and I just run it through, a Friedman 1x12. It's got a cream back in there. It's really small, really, really compact, and a Les Paul, and I don't need anything else.
Wow. That's cool. Yeah. Tell me about the Les Paul.
I recently picked up one of the 50s faded models. It was from last year. It was just they call it tobacco burst, but I think they should give me some money back on that. It's more like a McDonald's burst, the ones like this is the last time I'm going to buy a guitar on the internet. But yeah, dude, I don't know. When the band started, I was really exclusively playing tellies, and for whatever reason, I can't get away from the feel of a Les Paul. It almost has nothing to do with the sound. I like a thick neck. I like fighting the thing, and yeah, it's the ultimate, in my view, rock guitar. You know, people's guitar heroes oftentimes are not playing Les Pauls, you know. Valid, but I think rock stars are. I'm not saying I'm not at all. I know that's super douchey, but it's just like, yeah, but Slash looks cooler, man. He's playing a Les Paul, and so that's I don't know. I can't quit them.
Hey, Rocky.
What's up, Vincent?
Did you hear about the latest?
Latest what?
The latest drop from Maris. It's totally insane.
No, tell me more.
Maris just released Enzo X.
What's that?
Enzo X is a supernova expansion from the original Enzo into the highest quality and most flexible studio synthesizer ever created in a pedal format.
Whoa!
Enzo X combines 5 synth types, 5 drives, 3 reverbs, and 5 modulations. It also includes a full 2.5 second stereo delay, all in one pedal.
That sounds hard to use.
It's not. The UI is from the same family as the Mercury X and the LVX. It's super easy to dive in and see exactly what you are tweaking in real time.
Oh, I see. It's right there on the screen.
Yep.
Is it just for guitars, though?
Nope. You can plug almost anything into the Enzo X, including your MIDI controller.
That sounds incredible. Where do I get it?
You can pick up Enzo X online at maris.us or at any of their fine retailers across the globe.
Did you just say across the globe?
They know what I meant.
Wait, are we getting paid for this?
I'm still waiting on that cash money from last time.
He better at least give us pizza for dinner.
I'm not giving him his Enzo X back until he does.
For more information, make sure you check out maris.us, and apparently I have to go order a pizza. How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services, and it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the Gear Exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff. Les Pauls, I am a guy, obviously I like to have a lot of guitars, but I try to keep, whenever I'm like kind of lusting for a new guitar, it's usually because it's like completely different than anything I have. And I try to stick to that because I think that makes the most logical sense. If you're going to have a lot of tools, they should all do something a little bit different, except I do have 1, 2, 3 Les Pauls?
Yeah.
4 Les Pauls? Is there another one sneaking around here somewhere?
There's not to
4
cut you
Les
off,
Pauls
but-
if you include the Junior. The Junior's a little different.
Oh yeah, that's my Desert Island guitar. I try not to
Yeah.
have Desert Island gear, but that's my Juniors, that'll go to the grave with me. But yeah, I mean, I hate to be a snob or whatever, but there's no other guitar. That is the rock guitar, just in my view. And I saw you got a 1981 custom recently that looks gorgeous. And
I've had that one for a while. I got lucky. I bought that one maybe a year or maybe the same year the podcast started. So
Okay.
it's been a while, but I got it, and I couldn't justify paying what those go for now.
Mhm.
I don't think I could do it. I'd like to say that I could, but I just don't know that I could. So I got it at the time when those things were still relatively affordable. I think I paid like $2,000 for it or something.
For that, wow.
Yeah. which was like a normal price for it at the time. It wasn't like a smoking deal, but it wasn't a bad deal. It was just kind of market price.
And this is the faded one, right? Like the Randy Rhoads kind of thing that kind of fades into yellow.
Yeah. So it was white, but now it's yellow.
Nice.
And the listeners have heard this story before, but I wanted a white Les Paul forever. So many of my heroes, the one that stood out the most actually has been on the podcast. Frank from My Chemical Romance, was always playing a white Les Paul. And so I was like, man, I want one of those. And a bunch of guys in hardcore bands, and a lot of people will be like, oh, it was Randy Rhoads. I'm like, I found Randy Rhoads like later because that was before my time. So indirectly, yes, but it was mostly from punk and hardcore and metal bands. Yeah. And so I just wanted one. I wanted a white Les Paul. My main player was a Les Paul Special, which I still have and love, but I always wanted the white custom. And I would play them and be like, this one kind of sucks. And then I'd play another one, be like, this one sucks too. And I played like maybe 20. I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I played a lot of them. And I was like, maybe I actually don't like these. Maybe this is not for me at all. And then this one popped up at a local store and I played it unplugged. And I was just like, oh, I think this is it.
This is the one. Like if it has the thing, man, that's all that matters. I will say that is one of the major downsides with at least Les Paul specifically. I can't speak to every Gibson model, but like they're all a little bit different. And like I picked up a traditional maybe a year or two ago, and it was the closest to, like I'd been on the quest to get this sunburst finish that I could afford, and it was the closest one I could find to what was in my head. And that thing does not stay in tune worth a. And I know everyone says that about Gibsons and all this stuff, but like this is especially true for this one. I'm just like, man, do I get rid of this thing or just admire the wall ornament that it is?
Do you feel like it's any particular thing? Is it like it's sticking in the nut, or is it
yeah, that's my suspicion. So maybe it just needs to be set up again. But I don't know. It's just even when I'm like moving around with it ever so slightly, I'll hear the strings like bend in a way that's not super natural that none of my other guitars do. Like as if I'm hitting it super hard. So yeah, maybe it just needs a little TLC. But if not, eventually some kid's going to get a deal on a Les Paul in the Atlanta area. So
well, the cheap and quick like experiment you can try is just like get a pencil, rub it in there. See if that does anything. You did that?
Man, it didn't. The graphite did not help. So
okay.
I don't know. I'll give it one more pass with a professional, and then who knows? It's fate beyond that point.
Understood. Sometimes it's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
It's just how it goes. But yeah, I agree. The Les Paul, I've started on the Les Paul, and now it feels, even though I know it's not, like if you compare it to a Strandberg or something, the Les Paul feels ergonomic to me because I've played it for so long. I know right where the controls are. It's like an extension of my body. It feels good, even in the uncomfortable ways. I like it. It's what I want.
It's all preference. I mean, my brother-in-law we were talking about it the other day, and he was like, man, I don't even like tunematic bridges, and this is awkward for me to palm. It's just strange to me. But like I said, I love the fight. I think that's the selling point for me. It just feels natural. Yeah,
it does. I don't feel like I'm fighting it because I've done it for so long.
Let me be specific. It makes me so comfortable that I feel like I can kind of beat it up a little bit and really dig in my playing without repercussions. And that's what I like about Les Pauls. So.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say when we were talking about the 81, it's exactly what you were saying. I brought it out and I was kind of just looking at it. That's why I made that post. I was like, look at this thing, it's so cool. And my wife, who's not as into all this stuff, but by proxy has to deal with it. She was like, that's what a guitar should look like.
Yeah, dude, I agree. That was my first thought when I saw your post. And something about, not to get too off track, but I think that time period, like the horn is a little pointier.
It's just slightly
ever
pointier.
So slightly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I got to get one. I need that. I don't have that.
In my collection,
the point. So
I don't. It's like very. If you looked at it by itself, you may not catch it, but if you put it side by side, it's definitely like just tiny bit pointier.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure why that is, but
I don't know. I love that era for sure.
You know, and what I like about this one too, in particular, is like it's got the big old 50s neck, which is a thing that I really enjoy.
Wow, I haven't played a custom that has a super chunky neck. I've only played like 60s profiles.
Yeah, it's got the big boy on it. Even it's got the kind of the weird flat school bus frets, some people call them. And some people hate those, but I don't know. I kind of I just like all my guitars to be a little bit different.
That makes sense. I mean,
they pull different things out of you, right?
For sure. And it'll dictate the way you play and what you write, even if it's subconscious.
Yeah. And I think that's the magic. I've actually seen some people like talk about people not switching guitars mid-set. They'll be like, this guy just played the same guitar the whole set. How cool is that? And I'm like, I think it's whatever you want to do. I don't think it's cooler to play the same guitar or to switch guitars. I just watched Sturgill Simpson play for like 2.5 hours and played a 335 the whole time. And it was great. But his guy, Lauer, was switching Les Pauls and Tellys out the whole time. So it doesn't really matter. It's whatever you need. It's a tool for the job.
Mm-hmm.
So with the band now, kind of segueing back to that, like, do you guys it sounds like there's multiple writers going on, but do you guys write together or do you kind of bring it all mostly finished? What's the process like with the band itself?
It's a good question. I mean, it's never always one way, but we mostly write in a silo, or at least we did in the past. I think we've dipped our toes semi-recently into more like group writing or co-writing or whatever. Like, oh, try this instead, But at least one person will come to rehearsal or whatever with the foundation of the house, like done. Mm-hmm. Even if we like totally swap a chorus or like, hey, let's rewrite that verse. The basic sketch of an idea will be there, and then everyone kind of just puts their spin on it. So yeah. Three dogs peeing on the fire hydrant for sure.
Yeah, and do you guys like all bands are weird, right? Sometimes it's like we're gonna go all in, and the band's gonna be the thing. For us, when we were doing it, we all knew like this is a side project. We're not gonna be a touring band, but we really need to write this record, and we need to get it out there because otherwise we're gonna die. This stuff needs to come out, right?
Yeah.
And so it was really about the project more than actually making a viable career. But like, how do you guys view it? Do you guys view it as like, this is our whole life and this is what we're going to do? Or is it more like, this is just something we do because we have to?
I think the answer to that question has changed 20 times over since the impetus of the band. But like existentially speaking, like the music we write together is it. Like maybe our sound will be radically different in 10 years, but no matter like what ends up happening as far as like traction or show opportunities, or if we're even still writing new stuff, I really can't imagine a life without playing music with Ollie and Dave. It's just that's we have a saying. It's like, I don't golf, so this is what we do. This is our thing.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But as far as making a viable living, man, I mean, that's never really crossed my mind. At least it's more just like, how far can we take this? In solely in terms of new experiences, whether that's going on tour with a national touring act that's willing to have us for a week or so, or, hey, there's this random festival in this country. Like, can we make it happen? It's just, we really, to use like a lame corporate term, we really do build the airplane as it takes off, and just, it's just the next step, whatever gets thrown our way, we try to jump on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that there's a lot of people will say, and I think this is less common than it used to be, but it used to be like, if you weren't full-time doing something, you weren't doing it. And I've always found that to be really odd. It doesn't really make any sense to me.
I hate that, whoever came up with that.
Yeah, I think it might be actually more of like a self-destructive thought that some artists have. Yeah, because it's not really real. It doesn't, like, nobody, like, Ozzy Osbourne wasn't Ozzy Osbourne, from day one, right? He was working jobs and doing all kinds of weird stuff before he got Black Sabbath and took off, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got to start from somewhere. And I don't think that art created by somebody who's a lawyer or a garbage man is any less valid than art created by a full-time artist. It doesn't make any sense to me. So it's a weird mindset for people to have, I think.
And at the end of the day, these are just things we do, like is Ozzy's marriage to Sharon a side gig to his music? Like, it's just,
right.
We just do, I think if you only got one thing to live for, however important music is to me, I wouldn't want a life like that. You gotta have balance with things.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I thought that, man, I can't wait until I'm doing this full time and I get to do nothing but talk about guitars all day. And that is wonderful. You will hear no complaints from me about that. I finally achieved that, and I'm really, really happy about that. But at the end of the workday, I've talked about guitars all day. Now I want to read a comic book or something. Like I want to do something that's not that, because I've got my fill. I am satisfied with the amount of music in my life, and that's a really wonderful thing. But it also means I want to fill it with other things at the end of the day.
For sure. And I don't know what your average day or workflow looks like, but I would have to imagine there's probably 5 things, extraneous things that you have to do to talk to be able to talk about guitar all day long. Like things like, oh man, I got to send this email, or I have to have this meeting, or I don't know what it is, but it's not always roses. On the head. No. It's work. Like it's great that we get to talk about, whatever, but I'm sure there are days where like, I don't want to engage with this person, or I don't feel like uploading this. It is a job, regardless of how you slice it.
Yeah. And what gets me through those times, which, because they do creep up, it does happen. And you find yourself just being like, why? I don't want to do that right now. But it's never the podcast. This is the part I get excited about. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm going to go talk to Andrew. This is going to be fun. And it always is. It's always, even if I'm like kind of tired on a day, there's been those where I'm like, I'm kind of tired. I'll better slap myself awake and get in my A game here. It's still like once the mic gets hot and once we're rolling, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. I love that I get to do this. This is awesome. But there is that extraneous stuff that does get tedious, and there's a lot of it, and there's more and more of it every day. But that is because things are going the right way. So I'm kind of thankful for it in some ways, even though sometimes it can be tedious to try to reply to everything, which is kind of a sidebar. Anyone who's tried to DM me for the last 3 months, I have to apologize to you, because I just realized that Zucks decided I didn't need to receive DMs from people I wasn't following just randomly, because I had
You're not alone in that. I'll tell you that much.
Wow. That was really upsetting to see. I was like, who knows how many, because I was like, man, I'm not getting as many DMs as I used to be. Maybe that's just people don't care. I guess that's fine. That's okay. I also have the text chat, so people can get a hold of me that way too. So it wasn't like I was not being engaged with, but I was like, I'm getting less DMs. That's weird. And then a lady tried to send me a link yesterday, and she's like, it won't let me even like try to send it to you.
Yep.
I was like, what? That's weird. Yeah. So everyone, my DMs have been off basically. So sorry. Hit me up again. They should be back on now.
Ran into the same hurdles for sure.
Yeah. Very frustrating. Anyway, all that to say is what I really tell myself during those moments is, well, you could be like hanging upside down in the middle of an excavator again, covered in hydraulic oil. Did you like that better? Was that more fun than answering an email? Like, nah, I'll answer the email. That sucked. That was not fun.
It's a sobering thing to remember for sure. I mean, I think with any creative endeavor, right? Like it's going to be filled with highs and lows, and kind of what you're describing when you get to talking to someone, it's like, it's no different than once you're actually playing a good show. The overnight drive sucked or whatever, and you're pissed off at your bandmates for some trivial reason, but like once you're up there and get a little bit of whiskey and you're like, yeah, I know why I do this is great. So
yeah, that's the reason. Exactly. So when we're talking about like the going on those long drives and doing those things, are you planning on like doing a big tour right now, or is it just like, hey, we got this, like you talked about, like building the airplane when it's taking off? Are you sketching out some bigger things?
There's no extensive run in the works. I mean, we do have a handful of dates for the rest of the year that we're really excited about, but it's strange, man. I think making this album took a lot out of us, and as much as we're trying to do to promote it, across the interweb or whatever, this is kind of an off year for us as far as really, really getting after shows. And neither here nor there, but it also kind of seems like last half of summer and early fall are like the busy time for what we do. So we played some cool shows the first half of this year, but I feel like things are just now starting to ramp up for the rest of 2025.
Cool. Yeah. So, and what was the process for this record like? Was it different than previous recordings, or more of the same? All right, let's get into it.
Well, as far as like showing up and our usual like routine, it was the same in that respect. Like we always record with Peter, we do it in his studio. It's just rinse and repeat. But as far as like nailing the vision on the head or whatever, that didn't happen right from the jump.
Okay. Okay.
So we were like, you know what? Let's try this Kemper thing. What's this Kemper talking about? Because we can get so many different tones that just did it way quicker. And I really do think it was a situation of like, maybe none of us knew how to use it to the best. I'm not trying to talk about Kemper. There's so many albums that I love that's the bulk of their tone, but just like listening back to the mixes the first time, I was like, something's up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I could not tell you what that thing is. And Peter's like, dude, I'm telling you, it's the guitars. And I was like, nah, I don't. He's like, it's the guitars. We're going to re-record them. So we did. We re-recorded the whole album for a second time, just with an AC30. And that's how we've always done it. I'm like, yeah, I'm back, baby. This is what I wanted. So I can't speak to why it was such a headache. And again, I have no doubt that it could very much be user error. But yeah, that was a huge bottleneck for us in the beginning, just trying to get the right sound.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Good Hertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblissaudio.com. You're gonna like what you find.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Finding a new job is stressful. But with Indeed, it doesn't have to be. Just fill out your Indeed profile with your skills, experience, and desired salary. The more you fill out, the better your matches will be. And hearing from hiring managers will be 2 times more likely. Relax. That's your Indeed profile sending opportunities your way. Indeed, the world can work better.
It's a really interesting thing, and that's where like pre-production in the traditional sense can be really handy. But still, sometimes you get all the way through, and it's like, no.
So let me ask you this: have you like spent 2-3 days dialing in whatever it is, and you're like, man, I'm jiving with this. Like, I love the tones we're getting. And in the space, it sounds great. But once you hear it back and sit on it a little while, you're like, this does not, that's one of the biggest challenges for me with making music is what you're hearing just coming out of the monitors at first, not being what you hear later.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
Even from like a raw tones perspective, it almost has nothing to do with the mix necessarily. It's just like if you were to bounce me those raw tracks and I'd had a week away from it, I'd be like, why does this sound like now? Like, I don't know.
I mean, all the time. Like, yeah, it's a weird thing. A weakness that I have is I tend to favor lower, thicker sounds. And if I get my way with everything, it tends to be kind of muddy. Even by my standards. So I'll go back and listen to the mix and be like, you just want to play bass now? Like, what do you like?
Fair.
Because that's all that's in here, I don't know. I just like naturally start gravitating toward that when I'm kind of in a creative mode. And so I have to remind myself of that and and it's subjectively, I mean, I was going to say objectively, but it is everything subjective. To me, it is better when I get out of my own way and remember, like, no, you need some of that high-end detail in there to really fill out the sound. And one of the biggest times was recording that record I was talking about. We had this part, and it was just like, something's wrong with this track, but what? Everything in isolation sounds great, but it's missing something. And I took a telly and plugged it into, I can't remember what Epiphone amp it was. It was like an Epiphone tube amp, and just cranked the treble on everything, put the bridge pickup on, everything on full. And I was like, let's try this. And I just recorded the same chords, but with this ice picky piercing sound that sounded awful by itself, just awful. And everyone's like, I don't know if that's going to work. I'm like, I don't either, but this song's missing something. And so
and that's what the mix needed.
Put it in, and then actually put in way more of that horrible sounding Telecaster than I would have expected. And it was like, oh, yep, that's what we needed in that song. 100%. And needed that weird nasally spiky tone that you wouldn't use in isolation ever. And so I think we can tend to, as people who are tone chasers, we'll try to dial in the fullest, richest, nicest sounding thing by ourselves. And it kind of doesn't always, like, if you listen to like some of the best recordings of all time, the guitars don't sound like that. It's a compliment to everything else. And in this modern day, we're trying to get like complete finished album ready tones in our DAW as we're plugged maybe direct into it. And that sounds great on the surface of it, but I don't think it always works in the greater sense of the song and the mix. So just yes, all that to say, yes, I've ran into that before. That was the longest way to possibly answer.
Well, no, I appreciate the insight. I mean, I guess it's happened to me in the past, but not to this extent. So that was what was kind of just aggravating about this record at first. It was just like, man, what we were hearing on day one is not what we're hearing now. So I think that slowed things down and really ate up a good portion of our year. But I'm glad it happened the way it did, man. I think we all got the record we set out to make. It just took us a little longer than I thought it was going to.
Yeah. Well, one thing too, and I'm wondering if we'll see kind of a resurgence, because I've been playing way more in the box with DAWs and IRs and stuff than I ever thought I would. Especially, I built this whole thing kind of as modeling was really making that jump to what it is now. And so in my brain, modeling wasn't there yet. It was all still Line 6 Spider in my brain. That's what I was thinking. And so it wasn't. That's just where my attitude was. So I built this shed with the double walls, and it's as sound isolated as I could afford to make it. Like, it's pretty quiet out here. I can mostly play as loud as I want pretty much whenever I want. And that would have been kind of, I probably would never have done that had I tried some of the more modern modeling stuff. But I'm glad I did, because I recently switched back to playing kind of a more traditional rig, where traditional for me anyway, like tons of pedals, stereo delays, going out to multiple tube amps and just standing and basking in that glory. And every night I do that, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, this is the thing. This is why you got into this. It's not for the in the box stuff, which the in the box stuff is a great tool, but that feeling, I think, is hard to replicate in the box. Yeah, no, I completely relate to you. Like, I had a field day last week when I rarely power up my rocker verb, but I ran it through this Marshall 412 that was gifted to me, and I was just like, don't get me wrong, I still stand by everything I said about the Milkman, but if I don't know, like, something about a full-fledged tube amp pushing air through speakers that you just can't, like you said, replicate. I think the downside though is, and I'm just regurgitating what I've heard, so don't pressure test this answer too much, but like, depending on like the quality of the power, I guess, or a myriad things going on in the venue, like, it can really affect the sound of your tube amp, which that's never something I gave agency to growing up. And so I think that's the why now that I despite how much I love them, I kind of stay away from traditional amps in a live setting now, just because there's so much out of my control, and my spine is not getting any stronger. So now that I'm old, I got to keep it simple. But I do, there's nothing better than
having a 100-watt amp just dimed and not
so
worrying about neighbors or anything. It's
so good.
That's the thing,
I was playing an orange. Which one is this? The Rocker 30 and my Benson Vincent. And the Benson Vincent's currently running through 2 15s, and then I got a 212 orange cab over here, and I was just like, "This is what rock and roll is. This is it. This is so good."
Man.
Yeah. And you got to
That's
imagine like the first person to experience that. I don't know. I might have interviewed one of the first people to really experience that. I interviewed Mike Mitchell from the Kingsmen years ago. In a cigar bar here in Portland. He grew up here and still lived here.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend's brother worked at this cigar bar, and they're like, Mike Mitchell comes in here all the time. And they were talking to him. He's like, yeah, I'd do an interview. So we set up in the cigar bar and we're just smoking stogies. And he was talking about like his brother, or not his brother, but one of the guys in the band's brother, Conrad Sunholm. He's the Sun Amps guy. And the reason that Sun came to be was they needed more power for the Kingsmen. So they just kept building bigger and bigger amps. And that's why Suns are so ridiculously loud and clean, is a lot of it's because of the Kingsmen. So maybe he was one of the first guys to experience that overwhelming surge of power. I don't know.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. But I will say, since you mentioned the power thing, have you seen the Brown Box?
I'm not familiar.
Okay, yeah, my friends over there at Amp RX make it, Clark and Cassandra. It's like a really big pedal. It's pretty tall, big. It's probably like the biggest Hammond enclosure that they possibly make, I'm guessing.
Okay.
I don't know if it's custom or not. I may be saying wrong things here, but it's designed to plug your tube amp into, and it reads the voltage coming out of the wall. And then if after like some experimentation, what you want your amp to be at, you can dial it so it's feeding the correct voltage the whole time. I thought like, no, that seems like a little bit overkill. No.
Made a huge difference.
Wow. Yeah. I tried it on my Silvertone specifically, and I was like, oh, this thing likes a little less voltage than I have coming out of the wall. And it sounds and feels better. And you can have it, and it's consistent that way. It's like one of those secret kind of like rock star tools. I've noticed like a ton of people actually using. Actually, I saw one on stage in a rack setup at that Sturgill Simpson concert. They had one up there. So
gotcha. Well, I'll definitely have to check it out. Maybe I'll bring out the rock reverb again someday.
Yeah, you at least got to bring it to the local shows, right?
Yeah. I don't got to.
Yeah,
still,
you got to.
Yeah. Well, I'll give it an honest try for sure. But yeah, I don't know. The convenience of the Milkman has spoiled me. But hey, I'll certainly look them up for sure. What were they called again?
It's called the Brown Box.
Okay.
Yeah, Amp RX is the name of the company.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're out there in Nashville. It's really good stuff. I think you can get them at Sweetwater and wherever else. They're like pretty widely distributed, but it is a little bit of a secret tube amp weapon. Like
awesome. That's great to know.
Especially some of those bars down in Nashville. It's all just like random power.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird, and it matters more than you'd think it does. It sounds like snake oil, but it's not.
No. Yeah, I believe it for sure, and definitely interested.
Yeah. But let's see. Well, we are getting close to the end of the podcast. We're not fully there yet, but probably close enough we can get into some of the classic questions and whatnot. But before I do that, I like to give the guests a chance to take the stage. You can, plug anything you want to plug, shout out anybody you want to shout out, say hi to your grandma, whatever you want to do. The floor is yours now, good sir.
Okay. Well, hi, Grandma, first off.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening, we actually got these early, so maybe people will be able to get their hands on it soon.
Oh, nice.
Later. But this came in yesterday. This is the fresh from, I guess it's a Precision is the vinyl company in Canada. But yeah, new record, Pyramid Scheme of Grief. It is out via 59X Records and then Disconnect in the UK. And is it our best record? I don't know. That's not for me to say. But what is not debatable, this bitchin' ass cover, dude. Like, on this. So anyway, they're available for pre-order now. We have a bunch of singles out, and catch us this fall.
Yeah. Yes, check them out everywhere, and the links will be in the show description or show note, wherever the words are. This thing goes out to so many platforms now, I can never tell, like, it's just down there. Well, it might be up there. It might be to the side. I don't know. Where the words are on your platform, that's where the links will be, so go there. All right, we're going to get into the classic questions now.
Bring them on.
First one, what is your favorite Boss pedal?
Boss pedal? Ooh, I guess, is it the OD100? Is that right? The OD, I might have my model name wrong. I've never been a huge Boss guy, but just the yellow overdrive pedal.
The OD1, yeah.
The OD1. Okay, I have to probably go with that one.
It's a classic one. It gets a little bit overlooked for some of the other models. The SD one, which is kind of a tube screamers, kind of overshadows it.
I lost you for a second.
Oh, we back?
I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, the OD one I feel like gets a little bit overshadowed sometimes. Of course, is gonna do this right at the end. That's really cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I think I was picking up what you were putting down, though. I think basically it's kind of like the unsung hero of the line.
It was like one of the original Boss pedals. It's one of the first 3 they made, and it I think takes a back seat to a lot of the other ones that have come before it, or came after it, excuse me. But it's a good one. It's a good pedal. It's just got its own thing going on. It's a secret weapon for a lot of metal guys as well, that like, oh, the tube screamer is not quite the thing I'm looking for. This is more it.
Well, if memory serves, they were super affordable. I mean, it was probably like the first pedal I ever owned, so that's probably why I gravitated toward that answer. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't terribly expensive when I picked it up, and I just thought it was a cool, overdriven kind of sound.
Yeah. All right, final question. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
I gotta go with just classic greasy New York style, like fold it. Basically, the slice is the size of what a half of a pie should be. I don't think there is any other pizza. Like, miss me with the Neapolitan, whatever.
Oh, wow.
I don't. I mean, is Neapolitan pizza good? Like, yeah, objectively, yes, but no. It's New York. It's New York, dude. Like, it's not even a question. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do love the New York pies. It was I've said this before, but it was one of those things where before I went there, I was like, I mean, it's pizza. Like, how good can it be? Like, it's just pizza. And I went there and I ordered a slice and I ate it standing there on the street and went, oh, I get it now. I didn't realize I was going in a skeptic. I was going in a non-believer, and I came out a full believer in the magic of a quality New York slice. And I think about it every day. It's so good.
It's literally the best thing in the world. And yeah, I don't know. I will die on that hill. There's no other Chicago. No, hard no. Anyway, we should just have a pizza podcast, honestly.
This turns into it sometimes. I've had some pizza makers on the podcast before.
Oh, cool.
And I've actually got another one scheduled with one of my favorite pizza makers. So
I will be tuning in.
Yeah.
I want to hear these hot takes.
It's good stuff. You can go check out, I did one with a guy named Scott from Scotty's Pizza Parlor. He's came on, and I feel like I've had more than him. My brain, it's been a lot of episodes. We're knocking on the door of episode 500, so it's hard to keep track of everything in my brain. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. We'll see what kind of shenanigans we can get into on Patreon, if that works for you.
Yeah, totally. Thanks so much.
All right, everybody. For Andrew, this is Blake, and as always, folks, good luck and good tones. Alrighty, folks, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed recording it. Again, I think Patreon was even better in this case. So if you could go over there and support the show, that would mean the world to me. It really, really would. And if you need more content with me, and the Patreon isn't in the cards for you right now, I totally understand. $5 is $5. I get it. But guess what? I do 2 other podcasts every single week. I also do the Chasing Tone podcast with my buddy Brian Wampler and my other buddy Richard Oliver. But I also do a very fun music history / true crime / music. I don't know. We basically talk about the weird side of music. We don't get heavy into gear. we get heavy into story over on Tape Spaghetti, which is something that we put out on the Stringjoy YouTube channel, and also wherever you're listening to this podcast at, it is also available. And until that show has the same or more listeners than this one does, I'm going to assume that most of you haven't checked it out yet. So if you could go over, check out some episodes of Tape Spaghetti, I would really, 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 really appreciate it. That's Tape Spaghetti. It's a podcast, it's a show, and I think it's coming out really, really well. And Scott and I are both putting a ton of work into the research around these shows. So if you could go show that show some love, I would really appreciate it. Again, there are a lot more Tone Mob listeners than there are Tape Spaghetti listeners, even though Tape Spaghetti is doing rather well for a podcast with less than 20 episodes. I would really, really appreciate it if you could go check that out wherever you get this show. It's kind of my new passion project, and if it keeps going the way it's going, it's going to be really awesome for everyone involved, including the listeners. So please go check out Tape Spaghetti wherever you get this episode, and make sure you check out The Carolyn because they are a fantastic band, and I really love their music. So I think that's it. What a long outro. Let's get out of here. Let's leave. Let's get on to some other stuff. All right, bye. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.